yeah, there's no real sympathy there. But it's cool to drag it down to this side of the world. Perth crowd last time I was here was absolutely wild. They blew the roof off the place, and I'm expecting the same thing come this fight.
It's obviously been a while since we've got to see you fight. You've had fights booked, but you had to pull out.
I've had fights, just not in the UFC, brother.
So I guess physically, how are you feeling headed into this one?
Nah, I feel good. Body's at 100%. Yeah, just everything I feel like has come together in the last year. So I'm just looking to showcase that all.
Well, besides getting tattoos, how'd you spend your time?
Oh, that did take up a majority of my time. Yeah, getting tattoos, but I have actually been in the gym. Contrary to popular belief, when you're injured doesn't mean you stop training altogether, or you'd probably never get anything done. So I have been in the gym. I have had a camp in there, mixed in there. I was only like a week out from the Bobby Green one, 2 weeks out. That was like my second to last sparring session when I re-broke my arm. So I have had like a full training camp in there, even though I didn't get to go out there and put on a show for everyone. But yeah, I'm just excited.
And they matched you up with Gamrot. Do you like this matchup, or were you hoping for someone else?
I love it, brother. I love that sexy little number he's got next to his name. That's what I'm coming for.
Did you have to bring in anyone specific for this? Because his last few fights are very grappling heavy.
Yeah, it's just been a pest of a training camp, really. Just everyone diving at your legs for the past 6 weeks. I can't say it's the most fun I've ever had, but getting hit in the head a lot less is probably it's not bad. It's not bad.
So are you hoping you beat him, you get his number, and then all these names that I feel like you've been calling for the last several years now, they might be forced to take that fight?
Oh, they'll have to, brother. They'll have to. That completely changes the direction. Like a lot of the big names in the division are all coming off losses. Oliveira, Poirier, Gagey, Chandler, like all of these guys are gonna want something I have, which is gonna be a 3-fight win streak.
You've been in the UFC for 10 years now, I think, coming either relatively soon or within the next few months. And, back then it was guys like you and James DeHuna and Mark Hunt. And, you're the kind of the last one standing from that part of the world with this new generation. So do you feel like a veteran in this sport in the UFC, or do you still feel like you're like the young guy, like fighting and making a name for himself?
Yeah, I feel like I did get into the UFC very young. Like I was only, I think I just turned 24. When I first got into the UFC, and I was not a well-developed fighter by any means in the imagination. So yeah, I've had to do my development in the big show. I've had to do my development against the best guys in the world, and you're obviously like trying new things. Like some fight completely southpaw, some fights I'm orthodox, some fights I'm wrestling, some fights like all of these tools I've just been. But you've got no choice. If I would have just got into the UFC and stayed mate, I was like a forward pressure fighter that would wear you out, come forward and fight you on the inside, which is the dumbest move humanly possible as a 6 foot tall lightweight. So I've just constantly been working on things, and I feel like everything's just coming together now where I can, showcase a finished product. I feel like I just got good in the last year, so it's like, well, I'm going to quit now when I just got good. Doesn't make any sense.
So do you watch your old fights and you're just like, oh no,
dumbass? If I watch some old fights and I think about how crap I actually was, like I would wipe the floor with myself.
Which fight do you watch that you were like, all right, that was the turning point?
No, they're all like trying new things, trying different things, and it's just. I feel like the level has definitely changed from what it was. Like even the guys from our gym coming through into contender series like Cam Ralston, Navajo Sterling, Aaron Toe, like these boys they're completely well-rounded fighters. Their level is there. You have to come into the UFC now ready to compete with the elite of the division, and you have to be incredibly well-rounded, or it's a waste of time coming in altogether. I feel like 10 years ago, I come in as just a forward pressure striker. You'd sink. You wouldn't even get into the UFC now. I feel like the level in the last 10 years has grown exponentially.
Just two more for me unrelated to this fight, but November 1st, they're going to implement those new rules with the 12-6 elbows.
Man, I don't even follow the current rules, so like, they're no concern to me, brother.
Obviously, I assume I know your pick for the main event, but how do you see that fight actually playing out between Israel and Dricus?
I'm usually chomping at Israel's heels and sparring, trying to piss him off, but I just stay away from the cob during this fight camp. He's just hitting like an absolute truck. I can't be bothered anymore.
Hi, Dan. Why did you throw a drink at a guy at a rugby game the other day?
Why didn't you ask us on the pub talk? We did a pub talk yesterday. You're going to do it now.
I wanted you to have a crowd.
No, story time. So Kai invited me to watch our home team, the Warriors, and as you know, I'm a very passionate Warriors supporter. And there was another cob from the other team, the Parramatta Eels, and he was standing up there and he was rubbing it into the boys. The boys are getting pumped. I think we were 20 points down at before halftime, and every time they score, he's kind of rubbing it in. So I said, I'm going to start getting into this bloke. So we were absolutely spraying each other. It was like the most fun I've had the game in a long time. And then every time they scored, he was getting up. He was getting up and he was looking at me and he was going, "How you like that, Hangman? How you like that?" Usually, if you've seen me before, usually I throw my shoes at people, but I have my Timberlands boots on and I don't throw my Timberlands. That's one rule. That's why I strap them on. So yeah, I fired a drink at him, but he messaged me after and he's like, "I wanted to grab a picture with you. Where'd you go?" And I said, "Oh, Kai made me leave." So I had to, Kai made me go home. But no, I'll message him. I'll follow him on Instagram now. I said, we'll go to the next game together and we can just spray each other, sit next to each other.
It's a wonderful story.
You're down right here. You signed a new UFC contract before this fight, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Did you get everything you feel you wanted out of that?
Money, yeah. Heaps of it.
So I know you had talked in some other interviews, like Ariel and stuff. You love bare knuckle. Maybe that would be in your future. Do you think that's kind of pushing this to the wayside? Do you think you're here till you're done fighting now?
At the end of the day, the UFC's the big show, brother. You can go and fight anywhere else. Regardless of the money, it's competing in the UFC, competing against the best guys is where I want to be. That will happen. I can fight bare knuckle when I'm 40, mate. That's my retirement plan.
Big fight, obviously, this weekend, Dan. But could we get UFC Auckland back in the headlines again? How much do you want to see that happen over the next year or two? Potentially with this win, another main event.
I think with a big win here, we'll be dragging another event back to Auckland. Pretty soon. Even though I said every time I fight in Auckland, I say I'm never going to fight in Auckland ever again, just because the amount of stress it puts on my life. But we need to drag it down for another show. It's been too long.
And Dan, a lot of people might not know, but when all the CKB boys come out, a lot of the time Izzy dips into his own pocket to fly a lot of them out. Do you do something similar?
Oh. Making me look bad, Club. I don't get paid anywhere near what Israel gets paid either, brother. But I'll pay for a few tickets. I'll get a few tickets out, brother.
Speaking of teammates you're close to, Aaron Toe, he's going to be on the Contender Series. You've been with him for a very, very long time. You were coaching him. He's now a teammate of yours. Can you speak about that relationship?
Yeah, I'm excited for Contender Series is built for Aaron Toe. He's an action pack. You can't calm the kid down. So he goes out there and he looks to take the guy's head off. Much like myself, I think that's why we get along so well. But yeah, it's built for him to go out there and to get a finish. He'll be hunting it from the bell ringing.
And final one from me. After it's all said and done, obviously it's going to be a while with that new deal, but how does Dan Hooker want to be remembered in mixed martial arts?
No, I'm not too concerned about. You can't control how other people perceive you. You ask 1,000 different people who Dan Hooker is, you're going to get 1,000 different answers.